But when I became the mayor, I just decided that protocol is a waste of time for me, personally.
So I want to know what happens if we don't pay the rent. What about the mall? Understand? The mall there is not finished yet.
Regarding the stadium million budget,
Yes.
what is your strategy? I mean, the strategy are you going to use?
I can improve service delivery so that I can create more investment opportunities. We felt that in the past, people in our municipality were appointed on political affiliation, and some were appointed even on just political connections, right? Especially before 2016. So it was the first time in the history of a democratic South Africa that the ANC got below 50%.
Yes.
And if we can continue with that trend into 2024, it means we'll remove the ANC out of national government. And we know how to govern better than the ANC.
Oh,
For sure. Now, as the DA, that is our ultimate goal. We want to govern the country. Yeah.
Shoo.
All the way from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And now,
Real Talk Podcast.
welcome to the Real Talk Podcast _SA with Joseph Dema and Thabang Mkhatshwa.
Yes, sir.
And our guest for today is our lovely mayor, Marlene van Staden. Good day, our lovely mayor.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Mayor. In short, we want you as community and the Real Talk Podcast hosts to tell us about yourself.
That's a good start. I mean, for me telling you guys a bit about myself, it's always a good opportunity because, but what do you guys want to know? Do you want to know all the way from birth to now, or do you want highlights? Do you want to know where I went to school, what I studied, where I lived?
Yes. We want to know from your childhood till secondary.
Okay, so my name is Marlene van Staden. I don't have more than one name. I've only got one name, Marlene. And I actually grew up in the Valwater area. I went to Laerskool Valwater and I went to Hoërskool Nylstroom in Modimolle,
Okay.
where I matriculated in 1998.
1998.
So this year, I'm out of school 25 years already. Are you 25 already, Thabang?
Yeah, it's like you knew. I'm 25.
See, I could see it there. And then from Hoërskool Nylstroom, I actually studied at the University of Pretoria,
Okay.
Tikkies. And I also studied through UNISA a bit. And then I lived in London for 3 years in the UK, which was quite interesting after varsity. And then when I came back from the UK, I stayed in Joburg for a while, then in Pretoria, and then I actually moved back to Valwater in 2007. And since 2007, I've actually been involved and staying in Valwater community. And as you know, I was elected the mayor in 2016.
Yes.
At that stage, I was actually working full-time
Okay.
as a secondary school teacher at Mkhatshwa.
Oh, you were a teacher before.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I also used to write freelance for 3 local newspapers. So I'm actually used to being a journalist as well. It was a bit of a passion for me as well. My mum always said I was like a bloodhound. If I had my nose in a story, I wouldn't let go.
Wow.
I wanted to find out exactly what was going on and all the facts. And I did a BCom honours degree in finance, so I always used to do books for people.
Wow.
Sort of part-time in the evenings. I've got quite a lot of energy, so I never did only one job. I always did at least 2 or 3 jobs at the same time.
That's
so
wonderful.
Teaching and journalism and finance. Otherwise, I get bored.
Is it?
Yes. So
So-
that's why I think as a mayor, it helped me a lot because now I have to do municipal work, political work, community work, compassion work, and family things. So at least now I'm not bored.
Okay.
But sorry, my chap.
Okay.
Just to add on that, my lovely mayor. You understand? So I want to know, since before you were a teacher, prior to becoming a mayor. So I want to know the interest. What interested you to become a mayor or to be involved in politics? Because one thing I understand about being politics, from way back, it's been male-dominated. It's a male-dominated field. So I want to know about what interested you the more to become
Well,
a mayor.
this is quite an interesting question.
Thank you.
Because getting involved in politics was actually by accident for me.
Also,
So because I was working at the school as a full-time teacher
Yeah.
and part-time writing freelance for some of the local newspapers,
Yeah.
I one day had a random call from a lady, her name is Desiree van der Walt. And she is the DA constituency representative from Parliament.
Okay.
And she said, you know what, Marlene, I'm reading your stories in the local newspaper, and it looks like you know what's going on in the community, and like you're passionate about community issues, and like you want to drive service delivery issues. Can we have coffee? And I said, well, yeah, okay.
Why not?
So, yeah, why not? So she drove to Valwater, and we had a cup of coffee, and she said, don't you want to get involved in politics a
So
bit?
she drove from where just to meet you?
Yes.
Damn.
And then I said, yeah, sure, we can have coffee. And we were talking, and she said, don't you want to get involved in politics? I said, well, what does politics entail?
Yeah.
What is it? What am I going to do if I'm a politician?
Yeah.
And she said, well, pretty much what you're doing now, driving issues, showing to the government what's going on, visiting schools, attending to issues, seeing if you can resolve problems, helping community members.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I've never actually thought about it before, but I can get involved.
Yeah.
So in 2013, I actually decided to get more actively involved in politics, more like an activist in the political party, the DA that I've joined. And then in 2015, the same Desiree van der Walt asked me, would I stand for a councillor for the local municipality? So I said, well, what does councillors do?
Yeah.
Well, councillors drive issues, they sit in council, they attend meetings, they sort out water problems, and they are a liaison between the community and the municipality
Yes.
and the other way around.
Yeah.
So I think you'll do really well at that job.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, okay, let me try it. I've got quite a lot on my plate, but she said it's part-time, maybe I can accommodate it. And then I did go for an interview, and I applied, and I stood as a councillor, and I managed to get on the list.
Yeah.
And I never applied to be a mayor because I knew very little about local government.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think the Democratic Alliance thought in their lives that they could potentially have a DA mayor in Limpopo, right? Nobody thought that. It was an absolute miracle. I mean, I think some people are still trying to recover it 7 years later. So, by accident, it then happened that in our municipality, the ANC got below 50%. And on a national level, there was then agreements made between parties. And I was then elected as the mayor. And for the first few weeks, I was literally asking around here in Limpopo. So, can anybody tell me, what does a mayor do? Does anybody know? Who knows? What does mayors do? And people couldn't tell me. So I had to come and think of ideas.
Yeah.
I sort of had to start from scratch to say, okay, you know what? I'm sure mayors have community meetings and they have stakeholder meetings and they do oversight and they see people with problems and they help to resolve issues and they visit schools and they get funding for the municipality. So then I just started off in that foot. So I was never really out there to become a politician. I was actually more of a activist in the community
Sure.
that then sort of by accident got into becoming a mayor.
Yeah. But you're a teacher, right? So you're in your niche place.
Yes.
So how do you convince your family, like sit them down and be like, okay, here's the thing. Right now I'm going to this direction. How do you sit maybe I'm not sure if you are married or what. Are you married, May?
I'm married with 2 kids.
Oh damn. Okay.
And my baby was 5 weeks old. And I attended a caucus meeting here in Mkhatshwa.
Yeah.
My mum was still with me. And in that meeting, they asked me, Marlene, would you become the mayor? Would you stand as our mayoral candidate? And I was like, what? Really? Really? You're going to ask me now? And they're like, well, you've got 48 hours to go and decide.
Sure.
Go home, speak to your husband, speak to your family, see if they will support you, and let us know. So we drove back to Valwater, and my mum was driving, and I was still breastfeeding the baby at the back seat. And I said, Mum, you can't believe it, but they just asked me if I want to be the mayor. And I think my mum nearly rolled the car. And then I got home and I asked my husband, and he nearly rolled his car. And then I said, you know what, guys, just think about it for 24 hours. Do you think anybody will ever ask you twice in your life if you want to be the mayor?
ways.
Do you think somebody will ask you twice? Hi, randomly, would you like to become the mayor? I mean, it doesn't happen, does it? So I just felt like it was such a thing that happened by accident that surely it was a calling and I couldn't just say no. And maybe the fact that I was elected, even with a coin flip for round 2, should tell us that hopefully God actually have a plan for our municipality and even for me in politics in South Africa. Because otherwise, surely I wouldn't have been elected a mayor a second time around.
Yeah. True. So the challenges that you face for your first year, what were they? the first challenges? Those are like, okay, I didn't know about this one.
I think there was a number of things, but number one, government uses language that nobody else uses ever. I mean, I heard words that I've never heard of in my life before. So I've always got these little books that I write notes in. I still have them. So in the beginning, I used to sit with this little book, and people like you would come and see me, and they would talk, and I would listen, smile, nod, write down notes. When they leave, I would close the door and Google, what is the meaning of indigent? What is the meaning of IDP? What is the meaning of... I don't know any of those things.
Yeah.
So I had to start from scratch. So I had to learn the lingo, first of all.
Sure.
I had to learn all the shortcuts. I had to learn all the legislation. Because people in government talk about acts, like everybody knows it out of their head. So they would say, okay, guys, we can maybe do a Section 32 appointment. I'm like, what does it mean? So I had to learn all the laws of local government, and I had to learn what are the relevant ones for our municipality. So that was for me the number one challenge. Second of all, I had to learn how protocol works.
Okay.
Never heard of protocol in my life. I mean, who cares what protocol is? And I mean, over the years, I'm still somebody who's not big on protocol. I mean, surely you guys have seen, I don't ever arrive with bodyguards, blue light brigades.
Yeah.
I don't do those things. So we had a lot of protocol before me. But when I became the mayor, I just decided that protocol is a waste of time for me, personally. I couldn't understand why you would become a mayor and then you would arrive an hour late at a community meeting. You'll arrive with your bodyguards. You'll run in, speak, jump in your car and go away. So, I mean, the community will have no opportunity to actually engage with you. Because it would be so difficult for them to get to you or meet with you or address issues with you. They just can't ever get hold of you. And because I had this issue that nobody could tell me what mayors do, I thought that what I could do is maybe I can start telling people what I do. You know what?
Yeah.
So that's sort of where my idea for Facebook and WhatsApp groups and things like that started off, to say that I couldn't figure out what a single mayor in Limpopo do, except maybe a ribbon here or there. But what do they do every day, the whole day? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. True.
So I thought maybe I can tell people what do I do. Even if I do it wrong, then at least they know.
Exactly. So, sorry to cut you off, ne? So what is your vision like for the municipality and also the communities? Because I believe as a person or maybe as a mayor, you have a mandate, a vision and a mission, right? So I want to understand, what is your vision for the community and the municipality as a whole?
So I would say my vision for our municipality and things that I would really like to achieve is split into 5 areas. Number 1, I would love it if I can get into a position of getting the municipality financially viable. Because it is extremely difficult to work or do anything if you don't have money. So my number 1 goal would be is to get the municipality financially viable.
Yeah.
My number 2 goal is to really change the lives of people that I work with.
Yes.
To improve their lives, to make a positive change. Not only a negative impact, because it's easy for a leader to leave a lasting impact on somebody, but it doesn't necessarily mean that lasting impact was positive. So from my side, I would like to leave a positive change on people's lives. I would definitely like to improve service delivery in terms of water provision, less sewer blockages, better quality roads, more consistent electricity supply. And then lastly, number 5, I would like to get all our employees more productive. Because I feel that as a municipality, we spend a lot of money on our employees. They are expensive for us. And you know what? If you spend money on an employee and they are productive, you feel they are worth every cent. Then it's great. You don't mind paying them at all. Actually, you would like to pay them more.
Thank you.
But if they are not productive, then you get frustrated having to pay them that money. So I would actually like to be in a position when I can say to somebody like both yourself and Joseph, I think every single one of our employees are productive. Because that would give me such a proud moment in my life.
So I want to know, just before I give Mr. Chima the mic, so he can ask you questions as well. I want to know what happens, because as a community, I live in Mokopong, right? So I want to know what happens. How does it affect the municipality? And also you spoke about the budget as well. If we don't pay rent, how does it affect like your whole system? Because I believe we have to pay rent so you guys can be able to do certain things. So I want to know what happens if we don't pay the rent. Yes.
So a municipality is actually like any other business, right? We start from zero. So if we start the beginning of our month, we start with nothing. And every single cent that we collect from our residents, people like you,
Yeah.
people like businesses in town, people like organs of state, people like schools, ordinary households, anybody that live here.
Yeah.
Even people that buy discs for their vehicles to drive.
Sure.
Even people that speed in our towns that we then send a bill to. If we don't get in money, we don't have money to spend. So if people don't pay us, we can't do anything. So we don't get money out of nowhere for potholes or street lights or water or sewage or anything like that. So if somebody really wants us to fix their streets,
Yeah.
they need to make sure that they pay rent, that they pay for their services. And the thing is, it's like a catch-22 situation.
Sure.
Because you get people that say, listen, municipality, we're not going to pay you because you deliver rubbish services. So we're not going to pay you. But if they don't pay us, we'll never be able to improve those services. So as the two of us talk here now,
Yeah.
the outstanding debtors we have at the municipality, so people that owe us,
Yeah.
is nearly $1 billion.
Sure.
And the people that we owe, our creditors,
Yeah.
are also $1 billion. So imagine if we actually had everybody that owe us pay us, then we could have paid Eskom, we could have paid SARS, we could have paid the Auditor General, we could pay Magali's water,
Yeah.
we could pay all our creditors. But because people are not paying us, we also can't pay them. And that puts a dramatic burden on the municipality.
True.
Because people don't like it if you don't pay them.
Yeah.
But we also don't like it if people don't pay us.
Touché. But how do you convince them to be able to pay rent? Because they will argue that, okay, we don't get the full service that we expect. We don't have water. The rubbish bins are not taken. Sometimes it takes weeks for them to come and clear the what is it? The trash. You understand? So I want to know, how do you convince them to be able to, okay, see it from your own perspective? It's like, okay, cool, the mayor is making a point. What about from now on, we start doing this and that?
Well, I think we started off by trying to do as much political education
Yeah.
as we can, because I think a lot of the culture of non-payment came from a certain mandate political parties were driving.
True.
So political parties came into power and said, you know what, guys, actually from now on you don't have to pay. Government will look after you, will give you things for free. And that attitude was wrong, because government, as we sit now, is bankrupt.
Sure.
National government is bankrupt. Provincial government is bankrupt. Municipalities are bankrupt because we created a culture of dependency and we let the community of South Africa believe that they could just get everything for free.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out for us so well. Because if you think about it, it's not just the municipality. Go and have a look at what is the condition of our clinics, our health centers, our police stations, our magistrate courts, our schools, our municipalities, our roads, Telkom, everything. Eskom is a great example.
Yeah.
So did giving electricity out for free work for Eskom? It did not.
They did not.
Because Eskom is now in a complete disaster.
Yeah.
So we have to do more political education to say to people, we know political parties promised you
Yeah.
29 years ago that you can get everything for free.
Yeah, huh?
But that promise have now bitten them on the arse. Because now all state enterprises have actually collapsed.
True.
And we have to now change how people think about the actual services they get from government. Do you want Home Affairs to give better service? You need to make sure you pay tax.
Yeah.
Do you want the municipality to provide water? You have to pay your rent. Do you want Eskom to provide better services and have less load shedding? You have to pay for electricity. Because if you don't pay for those things, government don't have money.
Yeah.
They just don't.
True.
They need the income from their residents to sort out these state enterprises, to sort out municipalities, to improve service delivery
Yeah.
across the board.
No, true. Understand. Mr. Tema, any questions?
Mayor, last year, December, about garbage collectors. I mean, I don't know. Do you sometimes close as a municipality for the garbage collectors? Because they were not implementing their duties, their tasks. They were not collecting. I don't know, because we used to see the truck running up and down, but they were not collecting. The whole of December, more especially in Boroba, Extension-8. So is it a mandate from your office or what?
So, as a municipality, a function like rubbish collection never closes. It doesn't even close on Christmas or New Year's. It is a function that we call part of our emergency services. So, it is in the same category as traffic, water, sewage, and electricity. And those functions never close. So, although we might have office-based staff that will go on leave certain times of the year or close between Christmas and New Year's, our emergency staff never close, and we always have people that are working.
Okay.
However, if we have a process that is ongoing to do with fleet, we have had some challenges in Mkhatshwa, Modimolle, and in Valwater that our truck would have broken down, and we had to use trucks from other towns to come and do rubbish collection.
Okay.
And we previously had a fleet contract with APSA that have expired, and our new fleet contract with F&B will only start from the 1st of February.
Okay.
And I think it's in these past 6 months with the transition between the APSA contract and the F&B contract that we've had the most challenges.
Okay.
Because our trucks will break down, we won't get them fixed quickly. A truck will break down and we can't buy a different one. A truck would have an issue and we have to get something coming from Valwater or Modimolle. So I must apologize to residents,
Yes.
especially if you're referring to Extension 1 year.
Yes.
If their rubbish were not removed, that was a mistake on the side of the municipality. Because our mandate is to remove rubbish from people's homes. And to stop with the truck and pick up at every person's house that leave a bag outside or that have a bin outside. So if we're not doing it, it means we are not completing our mandate.
Okay.
And as councillors, and then I'm including all the councillors
All
of the
the councillors.
municipality, no matter what the political affiliation is, all of us have a mandate for service delivery. So all of us should be doing everything in our power to make sure that our people get the basic service delivery at least.
Okay.
Water, sewage, rubbish removal, roads, electricity. Those are our things.
Okay.
And in some instances, the municipality are really struggling to do proper service delivery.
Oh.
And it's also based on the fact that we are really struggling financially. That is why I said my number one priority is to get money for the municipality so that we can become financially viable. Now, we've appointed a new revenue manager. His name is Johannes Molekwa.
Okay.
And he started with the municipality on the 1st of December. And since he started, the one program we've rolled out that is making people very angry are we doing cut-offs. Because sometimes the only way to force people to pay is to cut their water or electricity off.
Oh,
They don't like it. And they get angry.
of course.
And we get political interference. And we also get people that take bribe money and try to bribe officials and do all sorts of funny things. But if we're not going to take harsher steps on revenue collection, we can just throw in the towel and we'll never get this place right.
So,
Because money makes the world go round.
of course, yes. Yeah, so municipality, because it is amalgamated, so Modimolle and Mkhatshwa, most of the residents from Mkhatshwa, they feel like Mkhatshwa is like a satellite municipality because it's like somehow abandoned. Have you ever been there at the back?
I have, yes.
What's happening? What will happen with that situation?
So that project was actually started and I want to say completed, although it was never completed, for the building of a new Mkhatshwa office building already in 2005. So, 11 years before I became the mayor, that whole thing already collapsed. It was sponsored through the Department of National Treasury as an official municipal infrastructure grant project. And unfortunately, the complete project money was spent, but the project was never completed. And a sad thing about it is that is just one of the projects in Mkhatshwa that was never completed. There are numerous other ones that we inherited in 2016. Stormwater, sewage, RDPs, toilets in Mpumalong, a huge amount. Road projects, bridge projects, replacement of pipelines, upgrading of electricity lines that were all funded and never completed. Even the Mkhatshwa landfill site.
Yes.
There was a 33 million rand budget to do that landfill site into a proper landfill site with a gate and a weighbridge and a fence and a cell. Well, you could see what it looked like, right?
Of course.
So it doesn't look like any money was ever spent. It just looks like they fenced it and put a gate. So the unfortunate part was that to get National Treasury to fund a project again is impossible. It just doesn't happen. So once the money has been spent, and the project is not completed, that's it,
We were not
Sorry.
aware. We were not aware of that.
which is bad.
Yeah, it is very bad.
So, in a few instances, like 1 or 2 projects, I don't know if you guys remember, here in Mkhatshwa, in Ward 9, in Pumalong, in the years 2016, 17, and 18, we actually built 942 toilets there.
Okay.
Outside, so we installed infrastructure for sewer and water, connected the RDP homes and built outside toilets and connected.
Yeah.
It's a toilet with a basin on the outside.
Yes.
Because all of those RDPs were built, there were never any infrastructure installed and there were never any toilets. So people couldn't use water or access sewer. And that project we could motivate to National Treasury. Although they have paid for it before, we managed to get money again and we could complete it. But the stormwater project that runs here at the back, if you just go over the bridge,
Yes.
there's a old stormwater project that runs along that road
Yeah.
between actually Modimolle Primary and all the way into Ward 4. That was never completed previously.
Of course.
And you remember in some of these other extensions, you see these huge old stormwater pipes lying around that was supposed to take stormwater coming off the N1 and things like that. So although we've motivated that a few times, we could never get Treasury to refund it. So if we work on stormwater issues now, we have to do it out of own municipal internal budgets. So managing project money is crucial because they fund it once and never again. But it doesn't mean that we give up. Even that office behind the old Mkhatshwa office, I'm telling you, I've tried for 7 years and I'm going to continue to try to get somebody to help us fix that building. I've tried to give it to Waterberg District Municipality to use as a satellite office to say, upgrade it, put an entrance in from the other side and we can use it. I've tried a TVET college in the past. I've tried an ABET association. I've tried people from the UG to see if they're not willing to upgrade. We've had people there from disaster management. We've had engineers there, structural engineers, to have a look at the issue. I'm telling you, eventually we're going to find somebody that can use that property. As long as we don't stop trying,
Okay.
we'll get somebody to use it.
Can I add something, Mr. Tim? Let me just pull this. Okay. Mayor, it will be injustice if I don't ask this. Ne? What about the mall? Understand? The mall there is not finished yet. And I believe if we are able to finish that mall, I think it will bring more sponsors into the town. You know what I mean? Kids will be able to, our youth actually, will be able to get jobs. So what's going on with that mall?
So that mall structure that you see coming into Mkhatshwa on your left-hand side,
Yeah.
that property belongs to the municipality behind the health center. So that whole property is municipal owned, but the structure that's on it was built by a contractor. Now, there was a lot of court cases that the municipality was involved in. In the end, we won, and that property still belongs to us.
Yeah.
Now, that structure will never be completed as a mall, actually. It was illegally built over a provincial road because the road going to Rutan, that's actually right across the Rutan Road. So, through the Road Agency Limpopo, we've actually submitted an application to reopen that road because that belongs to provincial government. So that mall there will never be built. However, the property on the left-hand side that is currently completely open, there is people from the Pastorius group that have submitted building plans to build a mall there.
Okay.
And they have been approved, and I know they are in the process. Then there are also people that have submitted for the building of a mall in the old Challenger building. And then I don't know if you take that road towards the Olifant, they're building a mall on the right-hand side. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen
On
it.
the old, they call it Marula Bushveld Estate. Yes. I think they're going to call it the Marula Bushveld Shopping Centre or
Yeah.
something. So there was actually 3 companies competing for space and applications to build a mall. It's the Pastorius Group, the people from Marula Bushveld Estate, and the people that bought the Challenger building. And I think all of them are going to be completed in the end, but it's taking a bit longer. But the municipality itself is not going to be involved in the building of any mall. That is not our mandate. The last thing we do is building of malls. We just don't do that. We provide land, we sell it, we do township establishments, we'll help with applications of rezoning, but otherwise we don't get involved in competition between people that actually run malls or ShopRites or Checkers or whatever that may be.
So, like, we can see right now that the load shedding is affecting us, all of us actually. You understand? And most business, they're running. How do I say it? I want to put it in a simple form, right? Because right now, for an example, I want to use the likes of KFC, the Debonairs. Right now, they're not using, the electricity. They're using the petrol, and it costs them a lot of money. So I think if the ESCOM or the load shedding continues for the next a year or two, I think those guys, some of them, they're going to be forced to retrench some of the stuff. Right? So how do we maybe come up with a solution to that situation? So we can be able to maybe, because if they are able to retrench some of the stuff, that means the unemployment rate is going higher and higher each and every year, and that's one thing that we don't want. So I want to understand how can we come up with a solution for that matter.
Well, there's a few answers to this question. Number one, according to experts, they think that load shedding in South Africa could last another 10 years if we're not going to do anything drastic as a country. 10 years. And it might even get worse. I mean, look where we started this year. We started with load shedding stage 6. Yeah. Remember when load shedding started a few years ago? We were all shocked when we started on stage 2.
Of course.
Now, if we go to stage 4, we're like... So, I mean, it's typical that situation of cooking the frog in a pot of water, right? You start off with cold water, the frog thinks it's okay, and it then boils slowly. In the end, you kill the frog because the frog never jumps up because it doesn't realize how hot it's getting. That's what load shedding did to all of us. So it started with phase 1, then it started with stage 2, then we thought, stage 4 is bad. Now, if we go to stage 4, we're like, wow, yes, back on stage 4. Can't believe it's going a lot better than previously. So load shedding doesn't have a quick solution. What national government should do, this is what my opinion is.
Okay.
National government should allow private companies to get into that market. That Eskom doesn't have a monopoly anymore to sell to municipalities. They should say, listen, whoever can generate electricity, come and assist and start generating. Now they're trying to keep Eskom and NERSA just like this. They don't allow anybody to just generate electricity. As a municipality, we can only buy from Eskom, right? We don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't.
There's no competition. Imagine we had opened up the market 15 years ago already and said, guys, Eskom look like they're going to be in trouble. We've just started with load shedding. Maybe we can get more people on board to try and come up with creative ways of making electricity with sun or wind or nuclear or whatever else. I mean, we could have thought of maybe new things, but it wasn't allowed.
So, Mayor, to cut you short on that one, regarding the stadium million budget,
Yes.
what is your strategy? I mean, the strategy are you going to use to spend that money? Because there have been a lot of millions since that before you became a mayor, and we didn't see any progress. So what is your best solution and strategy towards the million budgeted cash on that stadium?
So for the stadium, we've actually budgeted 8 million.
8 million.
Yes, not just one, 8 million.
8 million.
So we're going to completely refurbish the Mkhatshwa Stadium.
Okay.
Now, that money is not municipal money. It's not in our own budget. It comes from National Treasury. It was an application our municipality did through the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to actually upgrade the Mkhatshwa Stadium, because in Modimolle, we've got the Ephraim Mogale Stadium that's in a relatively good condition. It doesn't look bad. We can have tournaments there. We host events, and it's fine. But the Mkhatshwa Stadium was in such a bad condition that actually we feel embarrassed to take people there. So what we submitted beforehand is a complete refurbishment. We need to fix the pavilion. We need to fix all the toilets. We need to completely put in lawn. We need to actually re-fence. We need lights. We need electricity. And we need changing rooms for teams. We need a complete refurbishment. We need parking outside. We need security. We need the whole shebang. So what we did was, when we submitted a building plan, we actually broke it down into different categories, which the department then accepted, sent it to Treasury, and they then committed that 8 million rand. So we'll advertise, we'll appoint an engineer that will run the project, we'll appoint a contractor that will run the project, and we'll have a project time frame. So we've got 12 months to spend that money. So the project implementation date is from the 1st of July.
Okay.
So it means after July, we'll only appoint the contractor. So the contractor won't be appointed before July, because you're only allowed to do it once the contract money becomes available. And then after the contractor is appointed, he'll get a scope of work, and then you'll have an implementation plan.
Okay.
And we'll do political oversight as well. So it means at least once a month I visit all the projects in the municipality, and I go and see what was his scope and where he is at the moment. And then if there's any issues that arose, over the past 6 weeks, we've actually terminated 5 contracts in our municipality already. The people that don't perform. Because we are actually tired of contractors that don't perform. So in our municipality, if you don't perform at the moment, bye, you are out.
But Mayor, in under your admin, you gave us the security to look after the stadium, and it was not that bad, but through the security guards, it went worse. Now it's dilapidated, and it's a crime scene area, that side. But there's a security. What is your take on that regarding the security that is guarding the stadium, but is now a dilapidated one?
Yeah, that is very bad because it's not the only place in the municipality that it have happened. It feels to me that sometimes, even if you have security, you've got an issue that things get vandalized, or security are in on the deal to organize people to come and steal the sink or break out the toilets or steal the cables. It's scary. But I think human nature at the moment is of such a way that you can actually bribe anybody into anything.
Okay.
So although you might be security, if I offer you 20,000 Rand to not be there tonight, then maybe you don't go and I make sure that I steal all the cables that are available. So the thing is that if things get stolen or if they do get vandalized, the big thing would be accountability. Do we keep the security company accountable? And I mean, that's one of the reasons why the previous security company were terminated with the municipality, because when they were here, we constantly had theft. All I kept on saying to that guy is like, listen, like, I don't know where you guys are. We're paying you guys 500,000 Rand a month, but we get things stolen every single night.
Because it doesn't make sense to have a security during the day and midnight there's no security. It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Because we are the security ourselves, but midnight you rather deploy them during that time of...
Absolutely.
You understand? So it's worse.
But I personally think, and I said it in council as well yesterday, I think we need to bring in more technology. That we don't only rely on people. So instead of just having a person sit there, we should have the person, but we should also have a camera. We should also have a light. We should also have an alarm, or we should have a beam, or we should have a trigger. So that, for example, if there's movement in a certain area, it triggers, it takes a photograph, it sends a message to the armed response unit or something like that. That we rope in technology to also manage the guard. So the guard would have a house, but there'll be a camera sitting there watching the guard. And there should be somebody watching the camera. So that the guard can't just disappear or things can't be carried past the guard while somebody is managing that camera.
So for Extension-8, so most of people from Extension-8, it was a chaos before, if you can remember. People, they put themselves in the wrong side of the municipal land or what, we don't know. So are they still safe or what?
So
The whole entire Extension-8.
So in Extension-8, there are people that have been formalized already.
Okay.
But there are also people that are there illegally.
Okay.
And what worries me the most about some of the Extension-8 informal settlement areas is that they are also inside the Nile floodplain. And I'm sure you've seen that when we get a lot of rain, people are really complaining about water, storm water, water in their homes. And even some of those RDPs that have been built there, I'm worried about how long are they really going to last. Because we've got movement in the ground. I mean, close to those houses, we've got our 20 bowls in the Nile. So you must know, and those bowls are not even deep. They're like 30 or 40 meters deep. So it means people are residing on top of the Nile floodplain. So there's movement on the ground there. It's not ideal for human settlement.
Okay.
But I've had a number of officials there from the provincial departments, from the municipality departments. I've spoken to the councillors. Don't encourage people to illegally occupy. Because at the end of the day, to formalize them is sometimes impossible. And even if you formalize them, you afterwards have stormwater problems, water problems, disaster issues. I mean, I thought that in Extension-8, we're going to get to a point where it's going to end up like Mozambique and people are going to end up in trees when the whole place is flooded. So I'm still stressed about that. Imagine we have 200 millimeters of rain in a week. What is it going to look like in Extension-8?
Exactly.
No, it's going to be chaos. Then what are we going to do?
Yeah. So for 2024 election, are you certain to lead again as DA, looking at how things are within the political parties plus ESCOM?
Well, in 2024, it is a national election, right?
Yeah.
So, what we are going to do as the DA, we're definitely going to campaign very hard to see if we can push the ANC below 50% in South Africa for the first time on a national election.
Wow.
I don't know if people realized, but in 2021, when it was a municipal election, the ANC only got 41% nationally, right?
Yes.
So it was the first time in the history of a democratic South Africa that the ANC got below 50%.
Yes.
And if we can continue with that trend into 2024, it means we'll remove the ANC out of national government. Now, as the DA, that is our ultimate goal. We want to govern the country because we've got a track record in places like the Western Cape. And even ANC politicians and officials admit that the Western Cape is the best run province in South Africa. Things work. I mean, people go there and they say it's like living in another country or it's like visiting Europe. Roads are clean, there are no potholes, everything works, schools are neat, they build new clinics, I mean, you guys need to go see it.
Of course.
Like it's incredible. Just Google RDP homes in Limpopo and Google RDP homes in the Western Cape. And just see for yourself. Or Google clinics Limpopo and clinics Western Cape. You'll be shocked to see what the difference in quality is that they deliver in the Western Cape. So the DA is not saying that we've run the country before. We haven't. We don't know how to do it. But we have managed metros. I mean, as we speak now, we are running Cape Town, Joburg, Pretoria, and also Nelson Mandela Bay.
Wow.
And those are millions of residents. And we run the whole Western Cape province. So we can with comfort say that we know how to govern. And we know how to govern better than the ANC.
Oh.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
Wait. Here's the thing, ne? I'm a media personnel, right? So I want to know, are we gonna have our own radio station soon? Because yes, we're running a podcast, but it requires data to run it. There's an old lady at home right now who doesn't know about the load shedding because they are not on social medias and stuff like that. You understand? Or maybe she's an old lady, she's residing with small kids. You know what I mean? She doesn't have a phone to start with. Understand? So I want to understand, are we gonna be able to start our own radio station here in Mkhatshwa so we can be able to inform? If maybe there's a kid missing, we are able to inform. If we're gonna have a shortage of the electricity, maybe the water, we're having a crisis, maybe we wanna call a meeting. You understand? So are we gonna be able to have a radio station? Because we are capable of running. You can see now. You understand? So I want us to have a radio station here in Mkhatshwa, actually. So I want to know if it's possible.
Well, you can't believe, but as we speak, our municipality is signing a memorandum of understanding with Limpopo Connections. Now, Limpopo Connections is a state-owned entity that are based in Polokwane. And we started the conversation with them already a few years ago, and they've installed fiber for us. So as we sit here, there's actually a fiber line running right here across the bridge and past Mukari Secondary School, that's sort of just behind our backs here, right? And into the whole township area, also in the main town, all the way to Modimolle. And we're going to put up sort of micro towers that will be able to broadcast a radio signal. We will be able to do aerial fiber and also normal fiber. We're going to be able to do broadband. And we're even going to put up a whole smart city system through them. Because they've never been able to do a smart city in Limpopo. It doesn't exist. But in our collaboration with Limpopo Connections, I'm telling you now, we're going to be the first smart city in this province.
Wow.
With that collaboration, just to make sure that we can get everybody connected. And the idea would be is that no matter where you are in our township, you should be able to get free Wi-Fi. Because the municipality is going to host that server and our community is going to have access. Because what I said to the guys from Limpopo Connection, I sat down with the CEO and I said, you know what, Baldwin? I've got a high unemployment rate in my municipality, very high. But you know how I can fix that? I can do a number of things. Number one, I can improve service delivery so that I can create more investment opportunities. I can remove red tape because the easier it is to do business in our municipality and the less protocol or red tape there are, the more people we'll attract. And I can provide free internet. Because if I can provide free internet, I can have people sitting in a shack in Alma and they can be teachers in China. because they can access the internet. Or I can have somebody sitting in a shack in Rutan and host an IT business if I can provide them with free internet. So I think that providing free Wi-Fi, connection, fiber, broadband will change the lives of our community members. And through that, we'll definitely be able to host a radio station.
No, that's nice. So the last question. They re-advertise the post within the municipality. Why every time do you re-advertise?
So I think there's a number of reasons for it. Number one, we were really looking as a municipality for exceptional candidates. We felt that in the past, people in our municipality were appointed on political affiliation, and some were appointed even on just political connections, right? Especially before 2016. So if you were well connected to a local politician or to a local councillor or to a mayor or to an MEC, or you were a branch member of a certain party, there's a good chance you would have gotten a job. You might necessarily not know how to do the job, that's irrelevant, but you could have gotten the job. And then after 2016, we first of all put a moratorium on any employment. So I'm sure people realize that for nearly 4.5 years, we employed nobody, right? We didn't even fill a single general worker post. We didn't employ a single person. We tried to decrease the amount of people we've got, and we tried to look strategically, what do we really want? Then in 2020, we managed to finalize all the placements, and we then started identifying what do we want on our organogram. And in 2021, we advertised for the first time, and we started appointing strategic people. Then in 2022, we advertised more. But when we get the advertisements in, and I can give one example. Last year we advertised for a manager communication. I mean, we're talking communication now. Now, every single person that applied was previously either a journalist or spokesperson. But if I want a communication manager, do I really want a journalist? No, I wanted a manager. Otherwise, I would have advertised for a journalist. So we had to look at who was the people that applied and said to ourselves, it will be better for us to re-advertise, look for a manager, rather than appointing a spokesperson in a manager position and still sitting with a place that the person can't do the job. Because I also don't want to set somebody up for failure. I want the best people. If we want our municipality to really improve, deliver better services, we need better quality staff. It's just how it is.
But thank you very much, Maya. We're wrapping up at the moment. Thank you for taking your time to be with us. Hosh. We call it Hosh.
Thank you. Hosh. No problem. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate that.
And shout out to Janine. Janine, your PA for making this happen.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks,
also,
Janine.
And also your driver for bringing you
and
in.
Stephen as well.
Yeah, understand. Yo, man, this is Real Talk Podcast, and this is your boy, the one in charismatic voice, the one with the gorgeous face. I go by the name of Vesgard, aka TT Mkhatshwa. Mkhatshwa. And this is Real Talk Podcast. We're out of here.
Away from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And now,
Real Talk Podcast.